Well, everybody, it's wonderful to be introducing my next guest. And since we met Dr. Marty K. Casey through our dear friend Pookie Lee just some time ago, actually it was in the context of whether you were going to join us in the Holy Land journey. You didn't get to make it to the Holy Land, but you've made it to World Unity Week, and that's the most important thing right now. Dr. Marty K. Casey, welcome.
Thank you so much, Ben, for having me today. This is such a historical moment for me and for our city. And I just would love to just, on behalf of St. Louis, say thank you for World Unity Week for having me on their behalf.
You are so very welcome. Marty, let me read your bio and then let's get into it because there's a conversation we need to be having. Dr. Marty K. Casey, a member of the Actors Equity Association since 2006 and founder and president of Show Me Arts Foundation, the first arts organization formed immediately following the unrest of Ferguson, Missouri, has tirelessly served for more than 2,500 children at no cost to their families, providing classes centered around the arts, educating youth in poetry, singing, dancing, theater, visual arts, and DJ engineering. Marty's success has been acclaimed by numerous awards, interviews, and acknowledgements, including being featured on Beyonce.com and recognized by this highly acclaimed artist for her work in the community. Marty currently serves as St. Louis Regional Network Leader for the National Association of Black Female Executives in Music and Entertainment. Dr. Marty K. Casey, it's a great honor to have you here with us.
Thank you again. It's so exciting to be here. And I am so happy to be rolling out an international initiative, which is UnGUN Institute. And as you just spoke about, Ben, that this is a conversation that we definitely need to have at this time, I'm in total agreement. And the reason being is that, in my opinion, we are actually dealing with three pandemics that's happening in our world right now. We're dealing with the pandemic of COVID-19. We're also dealing with historical racism and injustice, and as well as gun violence. I live in the city of St. Louis, where I was born and raised. And St. Louis, this is not any stats or accolades that we're happy to announce, but we have to just
World Unity.
Be honest about what is happening. We have been #1 in gun violence in the past 2 years. And based off of the stats of what has even taken place, and we're already in the month of June, it looks like we could possibly be leading this 3 years in a row. It is my goal to interrupt that. Sounds like we have some feedback from someone. I can't hear you, Ben.
Oh, try that now, Marty. How's that? I think we had some people off mute, but we're good now.
Okay. And so I'm not sure, did you hear what I had stated? Were you able to hear me?
Yes, we copied all that.
Okay, wonderful. So it is my goal to interrupt being #1 3 years in a row with the senseless gun violence. And we're doing all that we can to speak to it. And the first thing, we first have to acknowledge it. We first have to understand what is the cause, and then we have to put action behind it. And that was my goal in creating UnGUN Institute.
And since you started that after Ferguson, Marty, what was it? What was your immediate activity? What did you start doing? You felt called to do something. You felt an outrage about the senseless gun violence, and you wanted to do something. So you've gone out and created this platform, UnGUN, which I absolutely love. And I think, we want to hear more about that. What did you do? What is UnGUN? And what do you want people to know about it?
Absolutely. Well, before I can get into UnGUN, I want to set it up and really walk you through the process of how God gave it to me. So when the murder happened in Ferguson with Michael Brown, I remember being I was out shopping and my daughter had called me and she says, you know, mommy, where are you? I said, well, you know, I'm out shopping right now. What's going on? She says, whatever you do, I don't want you to come down a main road in our city, West Florissant. She says, there's cop cars everywhere. There's fire department and there's ambulances and helicopters and I'm not sure what's going on. I said, well, now, if they have all of those responders out, I said, go ahead and turn it on the local news. I'm sure that there's breaking news right now. So she did. And she says, oh my goodness, I believe that a teenager has been shot. And I said, well, okay, well, I'm gonna be honest. We have almost been desensitized to that, Ben, because that's something that happens every single day in our city. I said, now it has to be something a little bit more than that. Keep listening. She says, he was shot at 12:03. And I looked at my time in my car and it said 3:30. I said, okay. She says, mommy, he's still lying in the streets. I said, are you kidding me? And so, Ben, my heart stopped. Instantly, I felt the pain of a mother because it was my daughter that was calling to inform me that this young man had been shot and killed. And I'm thinking, what if someone was calling me to tell me this was my child? So I rushed home to change clothes and I immediately took to the streets. And for days, we were just trying to process what we witnessed, what we saw. And you start hearing, well, this happened and that happened, and they said this and they said that. And the only thing being that I could focus on was the fact a child was shot and killed, and he lied in the street for 6 hours before they removed his body. And as a mother, I just could not fathom the thought of that. All I could think about was the extreme trauma that's going to come behind that for his mother and his father and those who loved him, and even all of us who were witnessing. So as I began to take the streets and instantly became an activist at that time, which now I call myself an activist, which is a coined word that describes me, because I'm an actress first, and an activist is what I have to be when the call of duty needs to take place. And I got to thinking, I said, you know, Lord, how can I use my platform and my voice to bring the attention to what's happening here in Ferguson right now? Because this is getting ready to be world news. I knew that day. This is major. This type of response is not the right response. This is, I don't care what happened. It at that particular moment, it didn't even occur to me that it was the fact that it was an officer that killed him. None of those details matter. How do we get to a place that we feel that it is okay to treat a human in that manner, to be shot and killed and lie in the street for 6 hours? So I have a large cutout poster of President Obama, life-size poster. And I went home and as an artist, and I made a sign and I attached it to President Obama's large size poster. And I went back to Ferguson and I had him hanging out of the sunroof of my car. It looked like President Obama was actually riding with me through Ferguson, and it was catching people off guard. I mean, they're like, wait a minute, was that because I was driving through. And the actual poster itself, I believe it stated, come to Ferguson now. And I put US in capital letters, meaning us. Come and see about us. the Black community, in this underserved community, this is happening right now in 2014. And we cannot ever allow this to happen again. Come and see about Fergus, us. Come see about us. And the president at the time, he did not come, but he did send Eric Holder in his place. And of course, it was world news as to be expected. But as the days went on, Ben, and we were out there marching, the temperament of the people was starting to shift and it was starting to change. And I just couldn't figure out how we could really make a difference and do what was necessary to change the laws and to stand up and protect our communities if we were responding to it in a negative way. You had people that was looting, you had people that was, burning down buildings, but these were individuals that were coming into our city and doing this. And so it was all mixed in, and it was so chaotic that I just couldn't figure out how we were really going to make a difference. So I stopped protesting in the streets and I started marching with my brain. And that is when I created Show Me Arts Academy. And I'll tell you, on that particular day that I made that decision, I remember being inside of a building with other activists, and they were actually whispering and passing out the phone number and told us to write the number on our forearm. Write this number down, whisper the number, write it down, pass the Sharpie, and the next person write the number down. And when everyone had the phone number, they said, now, that's the number you're going to call tonight when you get arrested. When they give you your one phone call that number and we'll get you out. I knew then, Ben, no, that's not how I can help. That's not what I've been called to do. I have a heart of peace, and I felt like, God, there has to be another way. So when I went home and I started thinking about something I've been sitting on for a long time, which was Show Me Arts Academy, my goal was to take every child that was in that area at that time who was experiencing that trauma firsthand. Because this is a place in their community where they're seeing tanks, war equipment, police officers shooting tear gas. They're in full-blown war gear. The visuals were so painful. And I'm thinking, where are we? This is America. Where I'm on West Florissant and Lucas and Hunt. And this looks like a place I've seen on television, but never a place that I ever thought that I would personally visit. Something was wrong. So when I began to create Show Me Arts for that reason, I called on other artists. That's the power of community. And I said, hey, I need your help. We need to do this right away. I would love for you to volunteer and give your services. If you can teach theater, dance, visual arts, DJ engineering, painting, whatever is your thing, we're going to put these core disciplines together under the umbrella of Show Me Arts Academy, and we're going to service these children, and we're going to service this community. And by the hundreds, we did. And then as the years went on, it became thousands. And then I took 20 special children. I handpicked 20 special children, Ben, to do an initiative with. And those children, the name of their group was Spreading the Love. These are children that sing, dance, do poetry. And I even taught them how to be an activist, how to use their voice in such a way that you deliver a message, and you don't have to do it in a negative way. People will pay attention to you when you sing songs with messages that mean something, that can hit their heart, and that's how you change a life. I gave them the power that was given to me over 30 years ago when I was traumatized and I had been through so much. And the only way that I could, if you will, ungun, the only way that I could get those trauma bullets out of my body is that I had to discover a tool that could help me personally. And that tool was a microphone. When I had a teacher that believed enough in me, believed in me past how I was showing up, Ben, because I was showing up in a way that it looked like I wasn't going to be worth anything. I was showing up in a way that we see children showing up today. I was showing up and I looked just like those children that had burned down the Quick Trip. I looked just like those children that might be out here right now looting. I looked like those children that would curse you out and on a dime just simply because they're having a bad day, and you don't know that it's not just a day, they're having a bad life. And so my teacher, she heard my gift, and she looked past all of those things that she could have focused on. My white music teacher could have focused on my color. She could have focused on the fact that already by the time I came to that school district, I had already been kicked out of a school district for 90 days for fighting a teacher. But I fought that teacher because that teacher had disrespected me, and I felt the teacher was racist. So, Ben, I represent the children today that we're looking at and saying, we don't know what to do. I know what to do because I've been one of them. So when I took these children, these 20 children, and I did not allow them to show up that way. Whatever it is you're going through, we're going to talk about it. We're going to support you. We're going to help. We're going to deal with it. But we're going to keep you positive, and you're going to tap into your gift. You're going to increase your self-worth. You're going to show up and show out because you're from the show me state. And that moment in time, I saw if we could change these 20 babies from 17 different zip codes, Ben. So that means they didn't grow up the same way. Mm-hmm. They don't have the same privileges. I had children where they come from a 2-parent household, from areas where parents get paid for them to go to private school, all the way to, on the other side of the spectrum, children who have one parent or was even adopted. And some parents couldn't even pay for them to have a lunch. But we put all these children together and we blend their gifts and their talents. You couldn't point out any child and match them up with any of the stories, because what bounded them together was love and their gifts and their artistry. And those children right now today, here we are in another unrest in this city. And do you know, Ben, that about 4 of those children from the 20, they're organizing protests right now, peaceful protests, because we planted the seed of how to be peaceful and use your voice and your gift to move the needle.
Marty, thank you so much for sharing that part of your story. And there's so much in there. And I'm particularly struck by the way you've used the arts as a righteous response and as a powerful response. And this group spreading the love, the singers that you've brought together, the singers and musicians, and you've given these youth, these kids, something to believe in and given them light in their life. And what's the transformation you've seen, Dr. Marty Casey, in these individuals that are in this story, and that are, through your mentorship and through the program of spreading the love, Music Academy? How have you seen that transformation in their own lives and beings?
They're also world leaders. That's the transformation. I was able to take 20 ordinary children, but give them an extraordinary opportunity. And I would put them up against any world leader right now because of their experiences. These 20 children, we raised enough money to take them to Washington, D.C., New Jersey, and New York, and I took them all around just to give free concerts. We were giving free concerts inside of truck stops. We were doing free concerts on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial and Dr. King Memorial, and we took them to Senator Claire McCaskill's office. You name it. We sang in the train station where we ran into a woman who said she hadn't smiled in 3 weeks because she had just lost her job and became homeless. And she was in the train station trying to figure out where's her next stop. And when these babies began to open their mouth and sing, she says that was the first time she smiled in 3 weeks. So to me, those are world leaders, because right now we're dealing with a universe and around the globe of people who have not smiled in a long time, Ben. We are dealing with individuals who are fighting for their lives through COVID-19 and dealing with historical racial injustice. They haven't smiled. Some people haven't smiled, Ben, in years because of this. We're right now in the middle of senseless gun violence across the nation. People at a certain time of night, they have to come inside because they feel unsafe in their own community where they purchase their own homes. So we need leaders like these children to be able to show up. But one thing I understand, we have to be the village to even protect those children. See, those children needed to have someone who had those types of experiences where I could take them. So that means I had to first be healed myself, right? And so in doing so, we have to make sure that the individuals who are dealing with these children are also in a good space. So we have to heal everyone at the same time. We have to approach UnGUN the exact same way we are approaching COVID-19. This has to be an initiative, Ben, that is global, where we are all speaking the same language. We're all moving and doing the same thing at the same time, so that we don't heal a few people and then those who are not healed turn around and affect the other ones. We have to work this together. So you had asked me, what is UnGUN? UnGUN addresses the seen and unseen trauma by engaging the arts to uniquely calm, transform, and redirect individuals, helping them to validate their own self-worth and find peace within their mind, body, and soul. And it starts in the mind. It starts in the mind, because the mind is where we begin to, those five senses begin to wake up. It's what we see, it's what we hear, what we taste, what we touch, what we smell. All of those senses, it through our mind, it tells us something. If a child has been traumatized, being at an early age, maybe by a predator uncle who may have molested this child, and maybe that uncle smelled a certain way. Every time that child smells that smell, they're traumatized. And that's the realness that we have to start speaking right now. And it's not easy to speak that on this type of platform. But as long as we sit in a space being where we feel like
You're right.
we can just
Keep going.
kumbaya everything away, it will remain the same. We can't do it like that. And I'm the first person that loves to sing. But right now we have to have some real action take place. So if I would like for you to, if you could play video 1, and I would like for you to hear from one of UnGUNs Institute's community partners, which is Dr. Lynette Madison.
Okay, coming right up.
Sure.
We're talking to Dr. Marty K. Casey, founder of UnGUN and Spreading the Love Youth Singers. This is really, really important to have you with us, Marty. We're going to play this video next.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you. We are at a pivotal moment in time whereby we are facing multiple pandemics, and yet I wholeheartedly believe that a better world is possible, and that's why I am super excited to partner with Dr. Casey and the UnGUN Institute. I've been blessed to see the fruits of their initiative and service firsthand, and while one size typically does not fit all, or even most, let's be real, I'm here to tell you that the UnGUN Institute is the exception to the rule. My name is Dr. Lynette Madison. I've dedicated 26 years to walking alongside children, adults, and families on their journey towards whole person wellness and supporting them with peeling back the layers of trauma and healing from within. Trauma in its simplest form is injury. It's any injury that is experienced directly, which we commonly refer to as primary trauma, or indirectly, which we commonly refer to as secondary trauma or vicarious trauma. Now, whether direct or indirect, when trauma lands in the mind, it alters the parts of the brain that are responsible for such things as memory recall and emotional control. Now, why do we care about that, Dr. Madison? Well, I'm glad you asked. We care about that for 2 reasons. First, hurt people hurt people. And second, without intervention, those injuries can have lasting impact. Back in the 1990s, Kaiser Permanente conducted one of the largest studies ever dealing with the connection between the impact of childhood trauma on whole person wellness and health later in life. It was called the Adverse Childhood Experiences Study, and it had over 17,000 participants. And they looked at abuse, neglect, and what they called household challenges. Things like domestic violence, divorce, substance abuse, incarceration, and mental illness. And what they discovered is as the number of ACEs, or traumatic injuries, increased, so too does the risk for negative outcomes. Things like hypersensitivity to perceived dangers or threats that don't exist. Difficulty with processing memories, a heightened sense of stress, anxiety, depression, irritability, emotional outbursts that just seem disproportionate to the situation, challenges with maintaining focus and being distracted. Now imagine a trauma iceberg, if you will. There's the part that you see and the part that you don't see. The common behavioral reactions which show up in children in schools and in homes and communities, that represents the part of the trauma iceberg that we all see. The adverse childhood experiences, right? That injury. Now, those parts that we don't see, those are those things that underlie the trauma. Those behavioral reactions, right? Things like community violence, partner violence, fear of disappointment, or a desire just to control situations, right? In the education arena, this could be the classroom bully who shows up, or that student who shows up as an overachiever and just tries to do everything that they can to stay off the radar and out of harm's way, right? That student who desires to feel safe and strong and accepted. There's a condition known as alexithymia. In short, it's when we have difficulty assigning words to describe what we feel. So for the student who's experienced and witnessed violence, whether that be community violence, partner violence, domestic violence, the arts and the UnGUN Institute can serve as a lifeline and an anchor for those students. Art serves as an outer expression to their inner turmoil. It allows the part of the brain that is hypersensitive to perceived threats and the part of the brain that is always on guard to take a break, to feel safe while soaking in the beauty and enjoyable experiences through the senses, through the arts. So whether we're talking about dance or music or poetry or painting or some other completely different medium, the reality is art heals. So much like COVID-19, the UnGUN Institute takes a collaborative approach to disarming trauma and healing the village. My name is Dr. Lynette Madison, and I am a servant leader with 26 years of experience doing trauma work. Join me in partnering with Dr. Casey and the UnGUN Institute. Let's all leave the world a better place than it was when we found it. Thank you.
Wow. Marty, Dr. Lynette Madison, what an advocate for your
good
work.
Afternoon or good evening to you.
1 sec.
We are at a pivotal moment in time.
She wants to come back. She's keen to be here.
She's amazing. She and I actually, Ben, we attended school together. And I'm sure that Dr. Madison will be okay with me sharing this because we've been talking about it the entire time. During that particular time, Dr. Madison was having some personal struggles and trauma. And I was that individual who showed up to her aid in high school to help her UnGUN. I've been there for her in that manner. And so when she found out about the work that I was doing, she says, Dr. Casey, whatever I can do to assist and help you, that is the reason that I've gone to school to find out as much as I could so I could continue to stay in this place and heal others and not go through the same things that I've been through. But her words were, had it not been for her running into me in high school, she don't know if she would have been able to continue to push forward. So I am saying that to say, I could feel and I could recognize individuals who were full of trauma even back then. I can't do what Dr. Madison just did in giving you the scientific knowledge part. That's why I had her put in the video. But what I do, from the mind, body, and soul, I give you the spirit of where that child is coming from, because it has been my experiences. I feel them in my soul and in my spirit. That's the work that I've been called to do. And so we are excited to bring this initiative and this program to the entire world. You know, one of the things that Dr. Madison says, hurting people hurt people. We hear that all the time. But I'm ready for us to say, healed people can heal people.
Yes. Yes.
But we will never be able to speak that, Ben, until we do the work. We keep talking about what the problem is, but when are we going to have the solution in hand? I'm here today with the solution, Ben. I promise you I am.
Tell us more, Marty. I mean,
it's UnGUN. What we need right now, we need everyone who's listening, and I want to train the trainers. So who are the trainers? Our world leaders. We have to start with individuals who are already in this space doing what they do. We don't have to find the world leaders. You're already connected to them, Ben. So what I would like to do is train those world leaders how to identify, how to speak the language. We need to speak a core language. We need to give the same support. We need to have the same reactions. It's just like we did, again, with COVID-19, when they said, wear a mask, stay 6 feet distancing, and, wash your hands often, and stay in the house for 2 or 3 months. When we did that, we were able to keep the deaths low. Well, if we all do the workshops and the work at the same time,
yes.
If I have an opportunity to virtually train all of the world leaders at the same time, what happens is we will keep the trauma low.
Yeah.
And it's in everything. Trauma is, it can be triggered with depression, with stress, with not understanding certain things, just the anxiety. All of that causes traumas, issues, things something that has happened. You know where the trauma started with me? It started with my father, who I so love. I was daddy's girl. But my father, he was struggling with trauma. He was an alcoholic, and he was abusive to my mother, Ben. He would jump on my mother physically every single week. Every weekend. It was like clockwork. And what did I do as a little girl to escape that trauma? I'd go inside of my closet, and I had Barbie doll, a little Barbie doll, a Ken doll, and a Skipper doll. And what I would do, I recreated the story. I'd get in there and I'd make sure that Barbie was kicking Ken's butt. See, because I wanted my mom to win, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted my mom to be strong enough mentally and physically and emotionally to stand up to my dad and walk out and know that she had self-worth and she could do this on her own. And eventually my mom did. But what saved me mentally is that I recreated those stories. I was writing, directing, and producing back then with Barbie, Ken, and Skipper. And look, that's who I became, right? I was able to tap into my own natural gifts and talents. And that's what we got to do with these babies. Now, this is the thing. I'm not just talking about healing children, but I'm even talking about healing adults who are still stuck in a childlike mind, because their trauma bullets were shot in them way back when, and nobody has bothered to go in and do surgery to help them pull those trauma bullets out. And so every time we see someone and the slightest little thing happen and they snap off, and they're frowning up, and they're just all kinds of things. You see it. You can feel the energy of those individuals when they walk into the room. It's sun shining outside, but from the moment they walk into the room, it's like a dark cloud takes over the place, but they can't help it because they're carrying a heavy burden. So I want us to be able to heal them so that they don't turn around and hurt someone else. Because I tell you something else about bullets that get lodged. You might be able to shoot that bullet out and hurt somebody else. Or that bullet might explode inside of you and bring self-harm. That's why we're seeing high suicide rates going up daily, because people are hurting. They are hurting. With what happened in Minnesota, it was so concerning to me on so many levels, and I don't want to go into too much of that, but I do want to say this. I wasn't just concerned for Mr. Floyd. I was equally concerned for those officers because I saw serious mental illness.
Right.
I was equally concerned for all of us who bared witness to such a tragic event. Where did we place that in our minds, in our body, and in our soul, Ben? What did we do with that information we witnessed, what we saw? Where did it go? How is it making you move? Are you moving forward to make a difference in the world because of it? Or is it making you angry because you want to take one side versus the other? But when you live in a place of where you're healed and you're in a place of peace, how it should make you move is to say, I want to be able to save the officers as well as any Black man who would experience that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever want to see anybody with a knee on their neck. So I need to move in this world. I need to take personal responsibility to be the one to stand up and make sure that these laws change.
Yes.
I need to make sure that this injustice is no more. I need to make sure that Dr. King's dream doesn't just die in a day.
Yeah.
We have to move it forward. But we have to do it to where we gather everybody along the way, including those who are they're traumatized the most. I can't just heal the Black community and not heal the white community. I can't just heal the brown community and not heal other community. I can't heal St. Louis and not heal the world.
Yeah.
Has to happen. And when is it going to happen? How many more deaths, Ben? How many times are we going to keep counting deaths? Can we stop counting deaths? Can we count lives? Can we quit remembering the names of those who have died by the hands of brutality of officers? Can we remember the names of those who have stepped in and said, no more, or you will not do this? Can we remember those heroes? It's imperative. But we are so right now connected with the negativity of the world that we don't know how to get back on the track of positivity again. That's why we have to ungun. We got to pull it out. It's been too much. My grandson, Ben, he's 7. He has experienced 2 unrest in his lifetime. 7. So what concerns me, in another 5 years, he turns 12 and he's walking down the street and maybe he, whatever, and an officer pulls him over. He's going to think about the stories, the 2 incidents that he has heard over and over again. All of us in the whole world talking about what happened to those 2 individuals. He's going to feel like, I don't have a chance. I got to run. I have to run, or I got to fight back. So I have to ungun him from this stuff right now. And I do it every day. I have one of the most precious grandsons in the whole world, in my opinion. And so I say to you, Ben, I don't think it's by chance that you invited me to come to Israel with Pookie. And I couldn't make it because I was actually preparing to perform in Brooklyn, New York with my one-woman show. But I'm so glad Pookie made it. And I'm so glad that my sister friend Pookie Lee didn't forget about me, and she still shared with you what our mission is all about. And I'm so grateful, Ben, that somebody's been pulling on your heartstrings and saying, we need to talk about it. And I'm so excited we're having this moment, but we cannot allow it to be a missed opportunity. It is my hope and my prayer that all of us as the community, we come together because we must be the village. See, once I train the world leaders, then the world leaders have to go back into their own cities and countries and states, and they need to then train individuals who are working within the village. I saw something today, Karen Hoffman, our other sister, sent to me on Facebook. And it was saying that there is a village in Africa where when someone does something wrong, that they actually put that individual in the center of the village for 2 days. And everyone who knows them comes and they speak good things to that person. They don't throw rocks. They don't lock them up. They don't hit them in the head. They don't put a knee to their neck, but they speak positive words to them. It's to help them to center themselves, to get back to a place of self-worth. As you notice, I have positive words behind me because I grew up with a saying that says, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I don't know who made up that mess because that's not true, Ben. Words will hurt you more than a lick because I can get over a black eye. I can put a stake on that and eventually that go away, right? I may not ever forget you hit me, But that'll heal. But those words, they go in deep. Those are trauma bullets. When you tell a child they're not going to grow up and be anything. When you tell somebody because they're Black, I don't like you, or you're kind. When you tell someone that you're not worth anything, those words you speak, you might as well had just shot them up, because you surely killed them in that moment. But guess what? I'm going to ungun them. I'm going to ungun those individuals who's holding those words deep down in their soul. Because see, that's why I deal with the soul of it. Dr. Madison, she deals with the mind. Dr. Punch, a trauma doctor, is on my team here in St. Louis, and she deals with the body. She every day, real bullets, she goes in and she saves lives. But I deal with the soul. And you want to know why I'm in the soul, Ben? Because that's where you make the decision.
Yeah.
See, in the soul is, see, that's where I come in as a coach. In the soul is where I can get you to say you worth something. I'm going to show up for you. I'm going to let you know words that people said to you, that's not true. Because I see your smile. I see the fact that you showed up here today. That tells me right now, you want to see tomorrow. That's all I need. That's all I need. I just need a yes. Can I get a yes? And I believe that we can get that. And I want to ask them, who are you? See, it's important for people to understand they know who they are. Who are you? Who do you want to be? Don't tell me what somebody said. You tell me what you feel about yourself. This is self-work. It may not be a self-inflicted wound, but in order for you to survive, you have to do the work. And that's what UnGUN workshops are all about. We teach core language, and we get those individuals to want to live, Ben, not just survive. They want to live. And because I'm going to tell you, when you are dealing with individuals who just want to survive, those are the individuals who's out here pulling triggers. Because they're living in a place of hopelessness. See, they already feel helpless. They already feel like I'm not worth anything. I don't have anything. And so whatever it is I want, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. And if you fight me back from not giving me what I want, what I need, I'm willing to take it as far as I need to. So how do we turn those individuals around, Ben? I have to help them to locate their own self-worth. It's nothing anybody else has that you need. Everything that you need is already inside of you, but we have to build on it. We have to build it up. You need somebody to support you. You need somebody to tell you, I love you. You need someone to say to you, I'm not holding what you did yesterday hostage to who you need to be today. Kids today, love is not Love. What do you think it is, Ben? How do you spell love? It's not Love. How do you think kids spell it today?
Tell me, Marty. Tell me. How do kids spell love today?
Time.
Mm-hmm.
See, when I was growing up, if our mother bought us the latest tennis shoes, my brother the latest tennis shoes, me the latest purse, she was able to purchase what we felt like, oh, we're so loved. We have everything we need. We came from that era where stuff validated us, right? These children today, it's not even about that for them. It's not. They want you to spend quality time. They want you to see them. They want to be heard. Those 20 children that I was the director over, they picked their own songs. I didn't have to be the kind of director, oh, this is the song I want you to sing. You pick your own songs. They want to be heard. They want to be noticed. And when you spend that type of quality time with children, you know what they're going to give you back? Respect. And the best kind of respect is seeing them respect themselves. That's the best kind, to see them respect themselves. So I am prepared. I have a team of people, a lovely team of people here in St. Louis. I know that I was told that, you know, this was the format that we wanted for today, but I have an awesome team of people that we're ready.
Let's bring the team into the discussion, Marty, if you'd like to. There's a couple of comments that I just want to read. There's a couple of comments in the chat here. We've got a bunch of people here in the Zoom room and a bunch of people watching this out on social media. And I got to tell you, you know, we're all in awe, Dr. Marty Casey, really, of your passion and energy and optimism and practical application in response to something which is so vast that it paralyzes most of us. And you've not only taken action, but you've been compassionate and you've been effective. And it's absolutely extraordinary to see how you're dealing with that. There's a couple of comments here.
Sure.
You are such a beautiful soul. And thank you for all you are doing, Dr. Marty Casey. Love Dr. Madison's message as well. Another one here is Dr. Marty Casey. Love your passion, energy, and confidence, and would love to participate in your vision. You are a great blessing. May you and your team be blessed in this work. And there's a lot more like that. There's a lot of amens. There's a lot of people here just saying yes, 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 yes. And Dr. Lynette Madison here with us in the room. We'll bring Lynette in soon to be with us. But what I want to say, Marty, is this. Before we finish this session, and then we got another 30 minutes.
Okay.
Before we finish this session, I want to really understand what we can do as a global community to support you and UnGUN and your leadership, and what does success look like and what do you need? I want to come back to that. But before I do that, Marty, I want to say this. World Unity Week is really a collection of people who've come together, and everyone's got their own calling. Everyone's got a mission. Everyone's being tapped on the shoulder for something, right? Whether it's environmental, whether it's justice, social justice, racial justice. But what you're dealing with gun violence and trauma in youth, community violence and racism, I mean, to have that as your mission, I just want to pause for a moment and really just honor you and the enormity of what you have been asked to carry. And just I'm speaking on behalf of everyone here, just so that you know, Dr. Marty Casey, that we are absolutely all here in support. We will do whatever we can to support you, to lift you up and to get around you, and that this holy work, this holy mission will be fulfilled. So whatever it takes, you just help us and guide us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ben. Ben, Pookie will tell you that I've been knocking on doors in my own city to sit down with officials, and I'm actually embarrassed to speak this, but I have asked to sit down with high officials in our city, and that hasn't happened, and that's really sad. But what it showed me, Ben, is that what God, well, let me say this, what God showed me, he says, Marty, I kept you hidden. I kept you hidden. And I didn't realize that why until today. And I'm so glad I'm wearing some glasses because my eyes are swollen from crying. So, of the transformation of what I knew God was getting ready to do today. I knew things would be different today because being you did the very thing that we need to do for children. You asked me not what's wrong, but what happened. You asked the magic question of, tell me what happened and how we can help. A child doesn't need you to ask what's wrong. They're past what's wrong. The hurt has already inflicted them. But we have to show up and ask children what happened, because that tells me I'm here to save you. I'm here to save you. And so, Ben, I have to say to you, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for just hearing me out. But to hear you say that you're willing to do whatever we can to do this together, this work, this hard work together, that, sir, I'm not going to cry on Zoom.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cry on Zoom. I'm ungunning. But I have to say, Ben, I love you for that. Thank you.
Well, Marty, I know I'm speaking for a lot of people.
Can you play the second video, Ben, and then bring in Dr. Madison? I think that would be great.
Let's do that. Let's do that. This is absolutely wonderful. Dr. Marty K. Casey, the UnGUN Institute. And I'd love that UnGUN just doesn't mean disarming weapons, but it means disarming our souls. And the way that you do that, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So let's look now at this now. One second, Marty. When we come back, we might get everybody who is associated with your team to put their videos on and bring them all in, because we want to see everyone from the UnGUN, and we want to talk about what do we do next and where do we go from here and what's the next step. So let me just get this Marty Casey video. We're ready to go. Here we go. Yes. Be the village.
Thank you for your love. Thank you for your great kindness. Thank you for your tender mercies. In your presence is unspeakable joy. I love you. Your will be done. I place everything into your hands. It's in your hands. Lord, I've done all that I can. It's in your hands. Lord, I am placing it all into your hands. I didn't get much sleep last night. I tossed and turned until the morning light. I've been praying for my child. The last thing the world needs is another child running wild. I pour my heart out to you so that you know that I know you're a God who cares. You're Jehovah Shalom, the God of peace, and I need peace. So I'm placing it all into your hands. He's got the whole world
in his hands.
He's got the whole world
In his hands.
He's got the whole world
In his hands.
He's got the whole world in his hands.
Oh, Marty. Thank you. We're with you, Marty. Maybe we can bring in anyone who's with the UnGUN Institute. If you want to put your video on, that would be wonderful. We have here Ziwa Woodbury. Welcome. Anyone who's with UnGUN Institute, come and join us. And anyone who wants to, actually, anyone who'd like to come in to the field, just come and join us. Shiva. Dr. Lynette. Great to have you with us. Loved your video.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Ben, I pray that the rest of the world sees that this is not something that I just decided to do yesterday. This is not something that I decided to do when you invited me on this platform, but this is work that I've been doing for a long time. And the only reason that I'm sharing that is that this work is not just for you and I, Ben. This work is for all of us. Be the village means that there's room for all of us. And we have an opportunity to change history together right now. We're still talking about history that took place 401 years ago that we haven't healed from. So I would love for everyone in the world to know that Black Lives Matter and to say that right now you're willing to stand with me to change history so that 400 years from now, children, men and women of all kinds will know that we did it together. We all need to ungun. We have to ungun from so many things. So I know we have some of my team on here, and it's so good to see them because, oh my God, that's another story. But when I tell you, I love them and I love the hard work and the dedication and the belief system that we have in one another. I thank you all publicly. Well, not just publicly, globally. I thank you globally for saying yes to the work. And so if any of you all would like to say something right now, Sheva or Dr. Madison, please come on and speak and tell me just how bad me and Ben been looking on here crying. Come off of mute. Go ahead. Come off of mute. You're mute.
She knows
she can't come off of mute.
Okay, I can ask. Try.
There we go. There you are. Okay,
yeah,
Cheryl.
It wouldn't function, but thank you. Ben, thank you so much for hosting this. It's such a pleasure and honor to stand next to Dr. Marty K. Casey and her brilliance and her blood, sweat, and tears. She has been tirelessly marching and being present on so many stages in our streets, in our classrooms, in in every way possible to spread this message. And it's an honor to also to see her channel this in such a profound symbolic metaphor that I think the world is able to understand now, watching how serious of a pandemic this violence has become, and knowing that it's really truly finding and recognizing those talents that she sees in, that thank God she found a way to channel within herself, and that she sees in others, and that she sees in children around her. She really truly is a light. And when you stand next to her, so if you're on this call and you're listening, or you're on Facebook, this woman is a light. And when you stand next to her, you become uplifted. And I'm not exaggerating in that. It really is miraculous what watching what a true leader looks like, because a person of integrity is pulled by a calling, a vision. And the whole our whole format really had a whole nother take just a few hours ago. So but the thing is that she's listening to that calling so deeply, that when it's time to make a pivot, she gets that so deep. And I see her surrounded by really such brilliant souls, Dr. Madison, Dr. Punch, and all the other artists that have gathered around her, and Karen Kaufman is amazing. So I will sit back. But please reach out to UnGUN Institute, because we need more markers forward.
Shiva, thank you. If you can put the links in the chat here and put the links, and maybe on the Facebook page that you've done, that would be great. Thank you. Can I ask?
Shiva, if you could put in unguninstitute.com so that they know how to reach us in the comments. Thank you so much.
Marty, can I ask Dr. Lynette Madison? You must be so proud of your old schoolmate.
She can't. She can't hear me.
Right now. There you go.
Yes. I was like, I can't speak. There's so much I want to say.
We're getting some feedback, Ben. I'm not sure where there's.
I'm going to stop that. Yeah, someone's up there. Got it.
All good?
Yeah.
Yes, Ben. I am so incredibly proud of Dr. Marty. I'm humbled by her. Now I'm going to get the waterworks going. When I say she is modest and an amazing soul, she truly is. I met Dr. Marty about 33 years ago. And when she says that she helped me, no, that's not accurate. She literally saved my life with her gifts, with her talents. And I can never thank her enough. She's been doing this work for years, right? It was clear to me that God had a calling on her life. And we have, for 33 years, interconnected and been committed to doing the work of helping children and helping to improve just the community and the world as a whole. So I am grateful to have met Dr. Casey. And I will continue to support you, Dr. Marty, however I can. I believe in the UnGUN Institute. As I've said in the video, I've been doing trauma work, serving children primarily for the last 26 years. And when I saw the vision of what Dr. Marty had with the UnGUN Institute, I was like, yes, and yes. Where do I sign up? Where do we meet? Let's get to work. So you guys got to see a glimpse of just how great she is.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you more. Thank you.
Hello, did you want to share with us?
Absolutely. I just want to say, Marty, you did it. I remember conversations with you about speaking in the video. Marty, you know what? You ungunned me when I was in my situation, being homeless here in Atlanta. I truly thank you. I love you. And you know that I am here for you. I don't care if I have to crawl to St. Louis. I am with you. 3,000%. You saved me when I was going through such a traumatic experience here in Atlanta with me and my son. I thank you. I thank you.
I love you, Trailu.
I love you too. We got you. We got you. We are your stilts. We are your stilts. We are your foundation. And whatever you need, you know I am there. I don't care how I have to get there. If I have to grow my own wings, I'll fly there myself. But you have me. And my son. Whatever I can do with you and the entire organization, you let me know. We can use the radio, however we need to do, the TV show I have here in Atlanta, and just whatever we need, Marty. You know I am here. Whatever you need.
Thank you.
To do. Just call me. I love you.
Love you.
Ziwa. Is it Ziwa? Ziwa Woodbury? Brother? You're on, you can speak. Oh no, you just muted yourself. We do it all the time. No, you're still on mute.
Can you unmute him? We can't.
I already had, and then okay, let me do it.
Okay.
There we
Hear
go.
you now.
There it is.
Hello. Yeah, hello. Thank you. Thank you so much. I have to confess, I stumbled into this. I got the time wrong on Pachamama presentation, and I was like, oh, let's see what's on the main stage. And I just want to say it's no coincidence, because I see the whole, I'm a climate activist and an eco-psychologist and a spiritual counselor and a student of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, whose energy you have, very similar to the Dalai Lama, which is the highest compliment I could make to any human being. You have that same loving compassion and light that you're able to share, and it comes right through Zoom. And I just want to briefly say, I'm so encouraged by what's happening in the world right now, because as you say, we live in this trauma sphere, and the trauma has all of us, all of our attention now, because there's too much of it in the world. And we can only take so much before we're faced with it. We have to resolve it, because we carry it from generation to generation. And my father was part of the greater generation, which is called the greater generation. But what I'm most encouraged in the world today as a climate activist by, speaking of trauma, is Greta Thunberg, because what she has shown and what she has wakened up in the generation that's coming into the world right now is that generational trauma is cumulative. And it's gotten to a point where the children can no longer ignore it. And they're saying, no, this is enough. This is too much trauma. It has to be resolved. And people like you, with that same Mother Earth spirit energy coming through you, are now stepping into that and answering the call for what does it mean to be an adult in the world today. How do we step into that new world that demands to be born, because the old one is dying, literally. And we're feeling that now because of coronavirus. It's our mother sharing her fatal symptoms with us and waking us up to our mortality. And I also was trained in Zen hospice. And what makes hospice so special is that people have death, they lead death-aware life, death-informed lives. And that's the sort of hidden blessing of the pandemic, in a time where the world is completely interconnected and we're all completely connected to each other. The pandemic is rising and making us all aware of our mortality, the preciousness of life and what we have, and that our mother is ill and we might lose her.
I'm so sorry.
So that's my message, and I'm just happy to build a bridge between what I'm doing and what you're doing, and what so many of us are doing, and what so many people are doing, because that's what's happening, right? That's coming alive now, and it's just beautiful to see. Thank you so much.
Thank
And I'm
you.
from Chicago originally. I lived with a brother named East Saint when I was in college at Southern Illinois, and so I feel you on many levels here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for chiming in and saying that. And thank you for such a high compliment. And we are all around the globe right now, by the sound of all of our voices, we are lifting you up in prayer for your family and your mom. And I also want to say you would be the perfect person to train. These are when we're talking about training the trainers, you get the work, you understand. And that's been, he is the first responders that we need to reach out to. And so we will discuss more of that, but I want everyone to please go to unguninstitute.com. We just put a lot of this together for this purpose right here. So everything is not complete. We will continue to build on it. But when we have enough interest, we're ready to start rolling out that first stream of webinars or what have you for that training, for the workshops. And this will be a 1-week workshop virtually. And my prayer is that we can eventually get to a place where we're in the same spaces and in the same room, but we cannot wait for that to happen. We have to do the work right now today. And we will make whatever adjustments that we need to make in doing so. So I don't think my eyeballs can cry another tear. I'm sure I have fallen apart on everybody's computer and cell phone, whatever device they're watching from. This is, but I'm humbled by this world stage, Ben. I'm so grateful for this brilliant platform that you have created and put together, along with all of the other partners that have made this happen. It's unfortunate that it's taken something like a pandemic, like COVID-19, to bring us to this space. But this is, when you look at what is really happening around the world, this is the moment for it. The time is right now. Because if we were showing up in this space when everybody's busy being busy, they would have never taken the time out to, as he says, stumble across the room. You know what I mean? But because God said, no, I want to slow you all down. And that's a dance. See, when God slows us all down at the same time for us to hear what we need to hear at the same time and feel what we need to feel at the same time. See, he also wants us to start doing the same things at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have to dance together. We haven't been dancing together. You got some people that's out there pop locking, they doing, they hitting all of that, but we got to slow down, and we're going to have to dance together. And when we move together like that, Ben, that's when we'll be able to move the world. We'll move the world. We will. And I'm over the moon right now. I don't know if you have any more questions for one that
Marty, just to kind of come to bring this to a conclusion for now. Yes. We got some people turning up for the next program, which is great. Okay. Welcome everybody. Keep yourself off video. It would be great. We've got a few more minutes here with Dr. Marty K. Casey and the UnGUN Institute, and Marty K. Casey is on a holy mission. And we have had comments in the chat. You were just, authentically compared to the Dalai Lama by a devotee of the Dalai Lama as he was with us. And there are people in the chat that are calling forward that you are forwarding the mission of Dr. King, which is something that I also felt when you were presenting too, Marty. Sure, it's not the first time you've heard that. Mm-hmm. And, where we go from now is we're gonna talk practically next time. We'll figure it out. I think like a global webinar where you really talk to everybody about the practical details of what an UnGUN workshop looks like. And I just love that insight that we all need to UnGUN. We all need to UnGUN.
We can start using the word today. How about that? We can all say that right now. If you're feeling a certain way, no matter what level it is, you just tell someone, hey, you know what, right now, I just need to kind of UnGUN. And they're going to say, well, what does that mean? And then you tell them exactly what that means. I'm kind of dealing with some deep things that's hurting me right now. I have some deep stuff in my spirit and I'm feeling a certain way. And before I release that out on you, I feel like I need to just kind of sit back and let me deal with myself from the inside out. Let me go in and pull these trauma bullets out myself. So give me a minute and let me UnGUN. I mean, I use the word here around my house, talking to my husband, believe it or not. The other day I had some, listen, I need to UnGUN. You know, I got a whole lot going on. I'm showing up in all these little Zoom rooms. You're going to have to let me UnGUN. So it really does work. And it becomes a language that we really can respect and understand. And you can also do something else. There's a couple of little things I also want you to consider to do. And that is, I want you to start a creative care corner, a creative care corner. All you need is a corner in your home, in the schools, in your the community and businesses. And in that corner, there may be some headphones. It very well could be some adult and some children coloring books with some crayons and some colored pencils, a notebook where people just kind of sit down and jot some things out. Maybe in the businesses, you can make it a Post-it note and they can kind of UnGUN and release whatever they're dealing with. Don't have to put your name to it and just stick it on the wall in that corner or what have you. Just release it. We have to have these release sessions in these stations because you don't know where it's going to hit you. You don't know when somebody's going to come and do a drive-by on you and hit you with a trauma bullet. And you need to have a space and a place. And there's no comparison, but this is the best I can come up with right now. Being when the whole world was smokers, they had smoking sections in the restaurants, in the businesses, on your jobs.
In the airports, in the airplanes even.
Smoke breaks, smoke sections. So if we can come together and we can create that, surely we can create something that heals. There should be creative care corners everywhere.
Like it.
So that's all I have for now.
Well, that's a whole lot, Marty K. Casey. My, oh my, it's been a real honor and a privilege. And I said before, for half of this discussion, I was just in awe of the scale of what you've been given and the grace with which you are holding it and just carrying it forward, and nothing ain't going to stop you. And we are all with you. So we're going to follow up. We're going to get practical. We're going to have an UnGUN global webinar, which will be a feeder into UnGUN workshops and training people all around the world, training the trainers. Ziwa Woodbury is going to be one of them. There are other people in the chat that are already asking me, how do we do this? When is it? When is it? They want to know. So we'll come back to that. Thank you so much, Trey Lure. Thank you, Shiva, for being with us. Bill, is Bill part of your team, Marty? Maybe not. No. Okay, maybe he will be in the future.
No, but
go ahead. Last word. I want to thank you on behalf of everyone whose lives you've touched, and those. I think that's a number beyond even your reckoning. And Marty, the final word is yours.
Wow. When you decide to be better, you will do better. And the village can help you do it. We're the village. Be the village. Be the village. It's in the doing. Be the village. Thank you.